Yeah, that's right. Collin P from the DMV. Mr. Fingaz. This week in UGA football. Get ready, baby. Let's go. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. I hope everybody is doing well. How are you and you doing? It is your guy, Mr. Fingaz, coming to you from Zagnif Central, live from the 405 with a wind. Pow comes whipping down the plane, and it's definitely whipping today because it rained today and it got a little colder. The high was in above 40, so the temperatures have dropped down about 15 degrees or so. It is very chilly here, but that's okay because I'm ice cold anyway. But that guy right there, that guy, he's the brother from another, the sexy mother hubbard, the ace and base place in your face. I am very happy to be here. I've just been placed in charge of garbage and all of that stuff. Collin P from the DMV, how you doing, baby?
Oh, dude, I am doing fantastic. Don't really need to tell you why, because I mean, I'm sure you watched the same game I did, but we're here to talk about that.
Wait, there was a game.
Yeah, dude.
There was a game on this weekend.
There was a couple of them, but one was very near to mine and your heart, but yeah, you might have missed it. Oh, did you fall asleep?
I don't know, man. You know, I sit in that chair, I fall asleep sometimes. But yeah, real talk. Y'all know what it is. Y'all already know what it is. There was a game played in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the 404, the home of a group of people like Luda and Jermaine Dupri and 112 and Lil Jon and not his hometown, but Ursher and that team, the professional football franchise that just seems to have fallen off the rails. But we digress. But the
real quick
about the
real quick while you mentioned, real quick while you mentioning the musical artists and that stuff. I sent that to you, but there's a new song out, and I didn't really have on my bingo card. Luke Bryan, Quavo, and Teddy got a song out called Georgia Ways, and it is actually pretty good. It's really good.
Okay.
So, that's going to be the anthem from now on. I guarantee it's going to be played a lot.
Okay, we'll definitely have to check that out. Why they can't just let some regular person put a little anthem together and let that blow up? It's always got to be the celebrity put something together. Let some of these regular people put an anthem out sometime. I know there's plenty of people with Ableton Live and Fruity Loops and GarageBand that's got some skills out there. As a matter of fact, that's my challenge. All of you Atlanta artists, all of you Georgia artists that's out there, I'm challenging y'all. I need a Dirty Birds anthem, and I need the Bulldogs anthem. I need them too. We'll get to the Braves and the Hawks later, but right now I need a Dirty Birds anthem and a Georgia Bulldogs anthem. That's what I need. But we both digress. There was a game that took place in Atlanta, and it featured the upstart newcomers to the SEC, the Texas Longhorns, versus the Georgia Bulldogs. And rumor has it that Georgia wound up winning the game. Well, it's no rumor because that's exactly what happened. A moment to sip my drink because I don't drink the tea here because they all like to serve it unsweet. You got to get. I mean, there's some places that serve sweet tea, but they like that unsweet tea around here. But
yeah,
Georgia reigns victorious 22-19 over Texas in overtime. Collin, I'm gonna let you pop it off. How you feeling about it, brother?
Man, hats off to Texas, though. I mean, I ain't gonna be one of these people that downplay them and trash them. But I mean, dude, I wasn't ready for another overtime game. But I mean, the game in and of itself was a great game. I mean, it was awesome. They kept it low scoring. We couldn't get anything started, and they were just our secondary was getting just exposed bigger. I mean, hats off to the defense, but I don't want to see them a third time, to be honest with you. And it's hard to beat somebody twice, let alone three times. But
Correction. It's
what's that?
hard to beat a good team twice.
Oh, but yeah, that's true. That is true. Well,
It's
it's
not
hard to beat
hard
a
to beat.
team. I
It's
mean,
not hard. It's not hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to beat a good team twice. And Georgia proved to be the better team
yeah,
on this past Saturday.
yeah,
I'm
that's
not
very true. That is
saying.
very true.
I'm just saying. Did you catch the press conference? Did you catch the
With who?
press conference? I got some exclusive footage here. I got some exclusive footage here. It was a prediction video before, uh,
Oh,
right before the game.
We're back.
You knew it was coming. You knew.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, they trying to be back, but
You know what though?
what's up?
I gotta be honest. I have to be completely honest. I have to give them credit because remember
Yeah,
when they announced that Oklahoma and Texas were coming to the SEC, what did fans of both squads say? We're coming in and we're taking over the conference.
yeah, that's true.
One team is in the playoffs, the other one is not. Now, there's a lot to be said about the other team. They're going to do some building and hopefully get back to where to the level of respectability that they're accustomed to.
Yeah,
But
well,
Texas did come in and make a big splash. I mean, first year in a conference that you know as fans of an SEC team and then following teams in that conference and saying
yeah,
like we have for years, it's a tough conference to come in and win and to come in and run all the way to the conference championship and still have a berth in the playoffs is very impressive. So kudos to Texas,
yeah. Let
but
me add something.
but for right now, we the conference champions. Na 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 boo boo.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, like it or not, though, look at their schedule. They played the bottom two. I'm talking about last year now, but they played the bottom two SEC East teams, and they played the bottom three SEC West teams last year. So they didn't play the cream of the crop of the SEC, but they did they did go through the SEC. I'll give them that, but they might be in for a little bit of a wake up had they had put a Bama or a Tennessee or an Ole Miss or somebody like that along into the regular season. They might not, have their two losses to us, but they might have a couple more. But be that as it may, they did make it. I mean, they did prove, that they could get through the SEC, albeit they played the lesser teams, but SEC, SEC.
That they did, but you know what? They may have an opportunity to face another SEC team because
Yes.
they are still indeed in the playoffs. They came in, they wound up being ranked fifth in the CFP, and as such, they have a first round game against Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
And Tennessee is in the bracket right next to them. So there's a
Right.
realistic possibility and we'll get into the bracket breakdown later, but there's a realistic possibility that Texas may have an opportunity to face off against the Volunteers
Right.
in the other side of the bracket. So, never say never. They might actually get an opportunity to see what that life is all about.
Yeah. Hey, I hope they do. I mean,
There we go. The air horn was a little slow getting there, but it's all right. So let's get back to the game, man. I mean, dude, I'm not gonna lie. If you saw the game we saw, that first half was a lot of head knocking, a lot of ball moving, lot of ball movement around. But we roll into the half down by 3, and the score is 6-3. I mean, you saw what I put out there. You saw what I put
mm-hmm.
out there. It's the most boring, most undisciplined. game of football I have seen because we made mistakes on our side. You know what? Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
Do you still think Malachi Starks is a good DB?
of course. Yeah, he's a good DB, good leader. I mean,
Leader, absolutely. But is he really a good DB though? I mean, how many times was he out of play? I mean, the middle of the field wide open a lot.
yeah. Well,
When he
no,
was
that
when
well,
he
you can't blame that completely on him though. I mean, I mean that middle of the field, the whole first half was, I mean, it was wide open, and you were not, you weren't making it sound small. I mean, there was not a red jersey in that middle of the field, and yeah, he did get somebody, he got some people behind him. I don't know how many times. I know we all saw that one time that he got him behind. That he let the guy get behind, but you know. I don't know. What makes you think he's what's your thoughts on that?
There's a few times he was out of place, man. There's a few times he found himself in space, out of place in space, or by the time he realized which way, like he might bite thinking it's going to be a short pass play. By the time he realizes it, his assignment is down the field. Um, I'm not
Do you
saying
think it was
I'm not saying he's a bad DB, but he got talked up a lot and he hasn't impressed me as much. Now, if he's there with the receiver when the ball gets there, he's going to make a play. But he's not always there when the ball gets there. You feel what I'm saying? Because
yeah, I got you.
he's either chasing from behind or played way too deep, and now he's got to come up and make a play.
Do you think he had a little bit of Ringo syndrome, like Ringo's last year, or was it last year?
Oh yeah, Keely played lights out. For those of you that are new to University of Georgia football, maybe casual fans of those of you that are Big 12 fans that may not have followed Georgia like we follow Georgia. Keely Ringo had an absolutely phenomenal game in the national championship. He wound up
Mm-hmm.
making the interception of Bryce Young that sealed the championship. That is now a play that lives in University of Georgia lore. Third and Ringo. And then he was okay coming back. He was still good. He was in retrospect, he was good, but he wasn't 2021 good. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
Malachi had a really good season in 2023. Now he's the guy back there. He's the guy back there in the back, calling the shots and watching for
I
assignments,
mean,
things of that nature. And he had a really solid year last year. We were looking for him to do big things this year, and there's a lot of times he just looked kind of lost in space. But
yeah,
that's just my
he led the team. He led the team in tackles. He had 8 tackles, and then he led the team in tackles.
yeah. But I mean, why is he making tackles? Because he's got to make he's got to make the tackle because he let the guy catch the ball.
You got
I'm
to
just
why
saying,
is he making
listen,
tackles instead of
listen,
interceptions?
Malachi, brother, we love you. Keep doing what you do. We're just a couple of guys that
Hey, I ain't got a problem with it. You got a problem
we're just a couple of guys sitting on the couch analyzing the game. But look, the dog still won, and you contributed your part to that. And for that, you will always be a damn good dog for the 2024 conference championship. Um, Another thing, man, it just seemed like the offense would get going and then sputter. I mean, there's a lot of three and outs, and then of
yeah,
course we lost. God, we lost our punter.
yeah. He's actually out for the year.
We lost our punter. He is out for the season.
I think he tore every CL that's in that there
Yeah,
is.
he tore all the L's. He tore his LCL, his ACL, his MCL, his PCL, and his LL Cool J. All of them. Punter Brett Thorson, that joke will never die. Punter Brett Thorson, the Aussie wonder who played a big part in the success of this season. He's got a leg like you hear all the time, guys got a leg like a cannon. This kid forever, every season, boom, consistently booming 50 plus yard punts.
Yeah,
Consistently. Every time we have to punt, he's got the opponent starting back in their own territory, which made work a lot easier for the defense to kind of control the narrative on that end of the field. So
yeah.
yeah, he's out, and then of course we'll get into the injuries a little bit later. But yeah, we had that. Now, what I did see was I saw a team that played like his hair was on fire and his butt was catching. 100%. 100%. We're gonna give out some game balls and we're gonna give out some game balls a little bit later. Uh, Colin and I are. We're actually not going to get too terribly far, too terribly gone. Now that I'm looking, it looks like this would be a good place to take a break. I know I was leading into something, but we'll get back to that on the other side of the break. So thank you guys, those of you that are just tuning in this week in UGA football. Mr. Fingaz, Collin P from the DMV. We will be right back. So don't you go. Talk on it. So don't, man. I tell you what, the Delilah was not kidding. I co-host another show, and she produces while we're on live. It is no joke trying to produce a show while you're actually hosting it. We'll be right back. Don't go far. And we are back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week in UGA football. Mr. Fingaz here. Collin P from the DMV right over there. Let's see here. We got some comments, and I don't see where the comments are popping up. I normally can see them where they're popping up. So if you're commenting, thank you so much for commenting, but I cannot see what you're putting up on the screen. Maybe if I do this. There we go. Nope, it's not showing me the text. It's not showing me the comments over here either. But somebody did say it. It's in very small print. Hopefully Carson Beck can still play in the postseason. If not, you guys think Gunner Stockton can still help this team win a national title? The answer to that question is absolutely positively yes. I do not know for the life of me. There they are. There's the chat. There it is. That's our buddy Ben Cornett. Yeah, Ben, 100% we think he can get us there. The kid showed his entire backside to the Texas Longhorns on Saturday. Kid's a baller. Now let's not, before we get too excited, let's inject a dose of realism. Texas was not prepared for him to come into the game. Neither were we. Nobody was expecting that Carson Beck would get hurt. So now there's a little game tape out there on him. There's a little game tape out there on him, just a wee bit. He didn't chuck it around very much. He only threw for about 50 some odd yards during this game. He actually threw for he threw for 71 yards and did throw an interception, but still a little bit of game tape out there on him. But I definitely think that Gunner Stockton can help this team win a national title. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, sir. Appreciate your question. Hey, Ben, while you got one eye on the football game, why don't you send out a message and let these people know the dynamic? Well, I can't use that. That's another show that's part of this family. The homies, the Georgia, there's nobody on that side over there. Why am I pointing? The homies, me and the homie are on right now. Tell them come check us out. So yeah, let's get into that whole thing we were talking about. That's a good place to segue. We saw a team that, while it still had its faults, gelled, came together. Probably one of the best games they played this season, I would say. I mean, they did beat Tennessee in convincing fashion. They did beat Texas in convincing fashion earlier in the season, but as you saw, Florida was a little bit of a struggle holding off. Mississippi State was a bit of a struggle holding off. Georgia Tech, we did beat Georgia Tech, but that was not necessarily a mollywhopping, as it were. That's our word of the season, ladies and gentlemen. You'll hear that a lot if you look around. Let's talk football. That's our challenge. That's my challenge to all my Let's Talk Football peoples. Every one of you need to figure out a way to put the word mollywhop in your show. I want to hear it. Then we can just clip them all together and Sean and I will get together and clip them all together into one big video. I kid, but we might do it. Who knows? That but hey, Sean somewhere is watching, going, don't challenge me because I will do it. But yeah, that's what we looked at. So what do you think? It's so, Collin, I'm gonna hand this to you, sir. Who gets your game ball for this past Saturday's SEC championship? You're muted, sir. Uh-oh. I think we may have lost your audio. Oh. Oh no. Well, while Colin gets that worked out, I'll go ahead and go to mine first, and then we'll come back to Colin because we don't. I want to save the big reveal for his as well. My game ball goes to the UGA defense. That defense showed up and showed out. They said that Texas quite possibly had the best offensive line in college football. They said that Texas quite possibly had one of the top 5 running backs in college football in Quinchavian Weissner. They said that Georgia had problems keeping running backs from running up the gut. I did not see any of that on Saturday because, all told, when the game was over and the stats were tallied, Quintravion Weissner ran for a whopping 51 yards in 4 quarters and 1 overtime period of football for an average of 2.7 yards, and his longest run was 15 yards. And that was on 19 carries. Altogether, the University of Texas Longhorns football squad tallied up a whopping 31 yards on the ground. That's it. That defense said, you know what? You want it? You're going to have to come get it. You're going to have to go through us, over us, around us, by us, under us, whatever you got to do, but we ain't letting you through. You shall not pass. I wish I had that sound clip. But yeah, and Quinn Ewers accounted for negative 27 of them. The defense altogether had 15 tackles for loss, had 6 sacks, and had 2 interceptions. And if we want to throw a few more gamers out there, I mean, Malachi Starks had 8 total tackles and 7 solo. I got to go 5 guys down the list to find somebody who didn't have 5 or more tackles. And then, of course, Dalen Everett with the 2 picks. So that's where my game ball goes. Is that Texas is, Texas. We just talked about them scheduling setting their schedule up the way they set it up. I mean, they beat everybody by coming in. They ran over everybody uh except us, and they squeaked by Vanderbilt, but they beat everybody else by at least 2 scores, at least 10 points. And yeah, we shut them down. So that's where my game ball goes. Colin, you got your sound back up and running, sir? We still got nothing here. I got you wide open on my end. Your mic's on. There we go. I was going to tell them to jump out and jump back in. Well, for those of you that are watching us, we appreciate you tuning in this week in UGA football. I am Mr. Fingaz. My co-host Colin is experiencing some technical difficulties, but he will be back with us here momentarily. We are talking about the University of Georgia and their win in the SEC championship, where they definitely did an excellent job. Of holding off the Texas Longhorns. 22-19, but it was an amazing game. For all of that, though, for all of that I just got done talking about, it was a really amazing game. There was a lot of back and forth during this game. There were momentum shifts in both directions.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. There we
Sorry
go. He got the
about that,
sound
guys.
back. There it is. But there was a lot of momentum shift back and forth in both directions. But at the end of the day, the Dogs managed to take home the hardware. That's all right. Back to you, Collin. Who you got for your game ball?
Yeah, I gotta say Gunner. There's a host of people that I could give a game ball to. But it just seemed like he lit a fire. And even Kirby said that the guys rallied around him when he was announced as going in and starting the second half. And I think just talking to hearing the other players talk post game. They just rallied around him. There was no stress, no nothing felt by him because everybody was in his corner. Everybody, told him that they were playing for him, that he was in his corner. And you kind of see it. I mean, we talked about it off camera here. It looked like the dude had ice in his veins. I mean, from the get go,
Real.
and he looked like he wasn't anxious or anything. I mean, he ran the ball well. He looked like it looked like a running back running the ball. He was very comfortable and made a few good passes. One we're not going to talk about, but but hey, like I said, the future looks bright at quarterback with him under center next year. If that be the case, which I hope it is. I hope it's the case. And it just seemed like a different team, because I mean that poses the question though. If had Carson not gotten hurt, I'd like to say it would be the same outcome, but it looked like a total different team with Gunner under center. And definitely a different. Looked like Bobo was calling a different game too. Because he had the wheels. I guess he was calling a lot of quarterback keepers. You know what I'm saying? You seen him run up the middle. You knew it was his ball, right? I mean, it was no doubt that he wasn't faking. He wasn't faking to throw the ball. It was actually designed quarterback, keeper. But yeah, dude, it just lit a fire. I mean, not on both sides of the ball too. He had that kind of effect. It seemed like with the defense as well. The defense was always playing pretty well, but they were hitting. I mean, Dan, Dan
Dirty
Jackson,
Dan,
and
Dirty
everybody was.
Dan. Oh man, I forgot who it was that caught that pass coming across the middle. But I was watching. When you're watching sitting back, I saw him catch the ball, and as the ball was coming his way, I saw Dan Jackson. I said, "This boy is about to get lit," and he stuck him. I mean,
Won't you like it be like in slow motion and see Dan lick his chops? He's like, "Oh, I'm going to kill." But another thing with Gunner, though, let me just say this with Gunner. He got popped. You know what I'm saying? He got popped and jumped right back up. That
Yes.
that over the targeting, which I can agree it wasn't targeting. I mean, it was close. I mean, the helmets hit helmets, but that same one, he led with his shoulder. Even Kirby said that. But and his head his helmet. So he had to take another. We'll go to the end of the game on that one. He had to take a seat because his helmet flew off. So
yeah. Well, how about this one for you? How about the fact that the same guy that tried to take Gunner out was the same guy that Etienne ran the ball right down his throat for the game winner?
Oh, I know that. I didn't see that. That's awesome. And let's talk about him. I mean, he didn't know. Wow, you've been talking about him all year, and who showed up?
For sure. The man's had a game. I mean, there's so many players that we could attribute, that we could, give attributes to and accolades to. I mean, overall, the team as a team deserves accolades. But just to go back to Gunner Stockton, I think the moment that we knew that Gunner was going to light a fire is when he called his own number and he took off around the right corner and defenders squared up on him. And instead of stepping out of bounds, Gunner cradled that ball and lowered that boom and cracked him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Oh, it's getting ready to get funky in here. It's getting ready to get funky."
Oh, and then even when
he took the helmet to helmet, he got right back up. He was like, "Nah, I'm good. Where you at? Where you at though? Let's go." He just had to sit out for that play. I mean, here's a question for you. How do you feel if you're the coach of a major college football program who is projected to make a run at the playoffs, uh, whose fan base has been saying you're coming to take over the conference, and even though your schedule is light, you can't help it. You got to play who's in front of you, and you play them, and you beat them, and you get all the way to the conference championships, and you lose. How do you feel the next morning when you wake up knowing you had the big joker in your back pocket in Arch Manning, and you did not use him? How do you feel? Except for that trick play,
Wow.
which by the way, I was not mad at that play. It didn't gain him a bunch of yards, but I was not mad at that play. The fake quarterback sneak, that was pretty dope.
I liked ours too, our fake punt, you know what I'm saying? But not to go off on the other side of your question here. But yeah, I thought about that same thing. I'm very surprised we didn't see more of Arch. You know what I mean? But at the same point, though, yours had 358 yards. He had 358 yards passing, and that doesn't dictate what's on the scoreboard necessarily. But I mean, a touchdown, two picks. But it was. I mean,
Yeah,
he had those yards somehow.
That doesn't mean squat. Didn't Joe Burrow throw for like 5,100 yards in a loss the other day, a couple weeks ago?
Not against us, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Now that would be something. Georgia Bulldogs beat Cincinnati Bengals.
No, I'm saying he threw 111 yards on us the last time we played Joe Burrow. But
oh yeah, he did.
Yeah,
No, I was talking about like just the other day in the pro, or like couple weeks ago, he threw for some insane amount of yards in a loss. Like he had it might have been against the Bills, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know who that was, but I digress because we're not talking pro football. But yeah, he threw for 358. He had a good game, but I think the difference maker there is the thing that kept. Here's what killed them: penalties.
Yeah.
Every time they get
and not capitalize. They had it several times and never capitalized. Like I said, we were holding the threes when they got deep in our, on our side of the field. You know what I mean? Our defense, shout out to defense.
Or
keep them there. But
or even having a field goal kicker that missed a couple kicks. Maybe he should have he should have taken a few notes from the Kansas City Chiefs field goal kicker. That's the only kicker. Sidebar. This has nothing to do with our game. The only kicker I have ever seen in NFL history to dunk and have the ball go through for the Chiefs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the game. That was the game winner last night. It bounced off the left upright and ricocheted back through instead of ricocheting out. Anyway,
well, I got one for you. So I don't know if you've seen this, but ETN and come on, I'm drawing a blank. Who's our kicker?
Who, our kicker?
But anyway, yeah, our kicker.
Our kicker, Peyton Woodring.
Yeah. So ETN and Woodring are the only ones to score against Texas.
In both games?
Check that out.
In both games or just today?
No, in both games.
That's a pretty hey, ladies and gentlemen, Collin P from the DMV with the UGA trivia right there for you.
In both games. Check it out. It had 2 touchdowns, and Woodring had 3. He was 3 for 3, so he had 3 for 3. Quick Georgia math. That's 9. So 9 plus. Yeah, so that's 11. Now, to go back to the other game, I'm not gonna do that now, but yeah, double check that. I mean, I'm 99.9% sure that that's the case.
Now you got me over here looking. I will confirm that for you a little bit later in the show. But that hey,
well, go ahead. I can keep talking about that. Man, I keep talking about that because it's like, but I mean, to go to overtime after already playing an 8 overtime game against Georgia Tech and then come here, and I was like, I saw them go to overtime. I was like, man, but yeah, I kind of had a feeling that ETN we were going to score. I mean, they kicked that field goal, and I was like, we're going to actually score. And I saw ETN bulldoze through there, but yeah, even Kirby was saying though also.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was saying
No,
even Kirby said that if if Gunner couldn't go, and Carson couldn't go in that last play there, that Ryan was ready to go. Plesny was Pagilski was ready to go.
Gleason. Yeah.
But
How about that? Wait a minute. Hold on. You mean he didn't want to start the $9 million kid from Florida that went to Nebraska that went to Arizona State and then went to Nebraska and then wound up back here at Georgia?
I mean, that's what he said. I mean,
And even
maybe
then,
maybe we're not looking for those types of folks. I don't know. Maybe Georgia's pocketbook ain't that deep.
but no, it's not, I don't think that's it, man. You know what I think it is? Kirby is a strategist. That
Oh
kid
yeah,
that kid has the potential to have something going, but he's more of an asset to us on our bench than he might be to another SEC team somewhere. Like he could go to a program like uh maybe a Vanderbilt,
yeah.
because Diego might not. I think is Diego. I don't know if Diego's out of eligibility this year or next year, but he could go to like a Vanderbilt or an upstart school like a South Carolina that teams that are made moves this year, and
Yeah.
he could definitely be an asset to them. Kirby's that dude. Kirby will have sign you on the roster and have you right there, and you might not see the field except in garbage time.
Mm-hmm.
He's a master
Oh
strategist.
yeah, he has the he has the final say. I mean, once he picks you as your quarterback, he will not waver from that. I mean, we've seen that. You know what I'm saying? Like if he's your guy, he's your guy.
You know what? Somebody brought that up to me the other day. I had a conversation with somebody about that the other day, and they said there's a reason why he's that way, and it's because in the NIL world, where you get these kids who can jump in the portal and go someplace else and start, or go someplace else to make some other money, but especially go someplace else to start. And of course, as a starting quarterback, you can ask for more money with NIL. It shows that
Yeah.
he's willing to work with you and let you play your timeout unless you just totally muck it up, in which case he might pull you. And even then he'll just pull you for a little bit and then say, all right, did you learn something? Going back out there. It shows his
Right.
loyalty. Now he's loyal to a fault, but in the NIL era and the transfer portal era, I mean, as long as you got a good program going, I don't necessarily think that's a bad philosophy. But to
No.
go back, ladies and gentlemen, to go back to what Collin said earlier, he is 100% correct. In the previous meeting between Georgia and Texas, Trevor Etienne scored 3 touchdowns, and Peyton Woodring kicked 3 field goals. So Woodring and Etienne are the only 2 players on the University of Georgia squad to have scored in both meetings.
Yes, sir. And that's something.
That is something. And then, of course, if you, let's go back to game ball for a minute. Carson Beck didn't have the world's greatest game, but serviceable, keeping him in the game. Gets hurt, leaves the field, comes back on the field to hand off the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
That right there, sir, if there's any question to anybody who is looking at Georgia and saying, that kid is going to go heal up and get ready for the draft, no, sir, no, ma'am. He's going to be right there with that team. Whether he's practicing or not, he's going to be there. He's going to be in Gunner's ear. That is a kid that is 100% devoted to this program.
Did it kind of reminiscent of another Georgia Dog quarterback, Mr. Matt Stafford? Like, I mean, get off me, let me get out there. You know what I mean? It kind of was reminiscent of that, that kind of diehard like attitude. You know what I'm saying? But you saw him walk on the field like that his arm was just dangling. I mean, poor thing.
How do you not stack the box? He can't throw it.
You know what? I mean, like seriously. Yeah, somebody brought that up too. Like, you just gonna sit there and stand and look at it.
If I'm a reporter, that's the first thing I'm asking Sarkisian. Okay, you did see Carson Beck with the ice on his arm, right? You did see him limp off the field, right?
He ran on the field
and limp off the field. You saw him come on the field, and his arm was just dangling. what did you think he was gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You thought you were gonna secretly find out he was ambidextrous?
right, right. Little jump ball or something's gonna,
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. But again,
Yeah.
hey, look, I'm not mad at it because the end result is that not only do we win, we get a first round bye. At this point, we will be waiting on the winner of the matchup between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Hoosiers of Indiana University.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
let's get into the injuries. Move along to our injuries for a minute. Biggest injuries that we have, we don't know. We don't know what's going on with Gunner because he took a nice little knock to the head, and since he didn't have to play the last play, that kind of got brushed under because he jumped up really quick, and then we won, and yada yada. And we know that Kirby holds on to secrets about who's hurt and what they have better than the Colonel did his blend of 12 herbs and spices.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going on with Gunner. However, since we're not playing until the Sugar Bowl, it is December 9th. We're not playing for almost a month. I think he'll be okay and cleared if he did by chance get his bell rung enough to be in the protocol. But
Right.
also Carson Beck with his elbow report. There are some reports which we think might just be leaks and that have not been confirmed that he may have torn his UCL, his ulnar collateral ligament. That's one on the, I believe, on the inside closest to the body of the elbow. Um, Definitely plays a part in this motion right here. So if he's got to throw the ball,
Yeah.
definitely could affect some things. We don't know if he's going to play, if he's going to be done for the season. Hell, we might not know. We might see Kirby trot him out there during the Sugar Bowl for a trick play. Who the hell knows?
Well,
And
no,
of
one,
course,
one thing on Carson though, they when he went in, like he was talking to the trainers, and he couldn't grip the ball. Like it was like I guess a extreme Charlie horse or extreme like funny bone type thing. Not Charlie horse, but extreme funny bone type. He said it was just numb and he couldn't grip the football. So that was one of the things he said. That I think Kirby said that when they asked him about it. But yeah, there's no 100% like I guess prognosis. I don't know. There's no we don't know nothing basically. Don't know Jack.
yeah, and then our punter, like I said, Brett Thorson, he is pretty much done for the year. It's a non-contact injury. He was trying to make a play, big kick return. Silas Bolden running up the sidelines. He goes to try and make a diving tackle and injures himself. I don't think there's
Yeah.
any more news about him either. Uh, it doesn't look like
Yeah, but
there's any more.
we got a replacement for him. That guy looks like freshman Drew Miller. Looks like they committed him or they recruited him last year. So he came really highly touted. So we'll see if those big shoes to fill, man. It's not Thorson. I mean, like he had a hammer on him. I mean, he was booting that
Yeah, he
ball.
did. Like I said, it cannon for a leg. It's crazy. So what's next for the Dogs after this? Honestly, why is it doing that?
Yeah.
There we go. What next? The three R's. And for those of you wondering, it's not reading, writing, and arithmetic.
uh,
Okay, now we're acting wonky. I'm gonna have to turn this wireless mouse off because it's acting goofy on me. It's gonna work. So we're just gonna undo that, and we're just gonna go from the mouse pad. Stop it now. That's crazy. This mouse is trying to take over, and the battery is not even in it, man. I got I'm working with a haunted mouse. That's crazy. There we go. So we use the mouse pad here. The three R's: rest, recoup, and reload is what we need. A big dose of all three because we got to be ready. As I mentioned earlier, Sugar Bowl, January 1st against to be determined. Choices between Indiana and Notre Dame. If you had to pick, which would you rather? If you had to take your pick, Would you
Oh,
rather go
that's
for the
my pick. I mean, I would rather Indiana, but no, I mean but honestly, you know how we play Notre Dame, man. Every time we play them, and plus our boy Eric, you know what I'm saying, in our group air chat. But it would be great to play them. I don't think we've ever played. Well, we haven't. We haven't played them this late in the season, like even for like a playoff. We've already played them like during the season. I don't think.
yeah.
But
As a matter of fact, could you imagine the crazy if we did wind up facing the Irish in the Sugar Bowl, and it would be touted as a rematch of the 1980, except then it was for the national championship. But the
yeah,
last time we
that's
faced the Irish in the, for those of you that are uninformed and are a little too young to remember, when Georgia won the 1980 championship, that was who we played
yeah,
that was who we played for the national championship, and we played them in the Sugar Bowl.
yeah,
Took home the national championship and everything, and Herschel Walker got robbed. Whatever you say about Herschel Walker as a person and his beliefs, that's one thing. But Herschel Walker got robbed. He should have won the Heisman that year.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, like I was just, I wish Notre Dame was on the other side of the bracket. That way we had the possibility of meeting at the national championship. You know what I mean? But we can't, we ran into them a little bit early, which I know that's going to happen. I know they're going to take care of business against Indiana, and we're going to end up
You
facing them
think
again.
so?
I do. Yeah, I do. I
You
really
think
do.
they're going to be able to pull it? You think they're going to be able to pull it off, man?
I think so. I think they're going to be. We're going to face them. I think they're going to take care of Indiana. I'm not going to say it's going to be like a mollywop situation, but
That's
you
hey,
know,
look, that's two. If those of y'all keeping track, we need a mollywop counter.
we
That's
need a
two.
counter.
Yeah. So just to take a look at what we're looking at here for the national championship, the CFP. This is what we're looking at here. Georgia is at number 2, and we face the winner of Indiana Notre Dame. At 6 and 11, we've got Penn State versus SMU. Winner faces Boise State. At 5 and 12, we've got the Longhorns and Clemson. Winner faces Arizona State, and the other incredible running back, Scatterboo. That boy's a beast, man. There was so much talk about Ashton Jenney this season, and I didn't actually see Scatterboo play until
Yeah.
this past weekend. That boy's a monster.
Yes, he is.
That boy's a monster. Dude, could you imagine if SMU wins and it's
Yeah,
the battle of the best Scatterboo versus Genty?
man, it's possible.
That
I mean,
600 potentially anywhere between 4 to 500 yards of total offense on the ground just by those two alone. That would be insane.
yeah, it would be.
Number 5 and 12 Clemson, 5 and 12 Texas. Clemson takes on Arizona State, and then we have at 8 and 9 we have Ohio State, Tennessee. Winner takes on Oregon. I'm gonna go ahead and say Oregon handles their bracket easily. I've got Texas beating Clemson, and I don't know, SMU Penn State. That's going to be a good game. Both of them fought. Both of them lost, but played very, very, very scrappily. So that one could go either way, I think. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Lord have mercy. I'm over here being dumb. SMU is not the one with the running back. Arizona State is the one with the running back. So it would have to come. It would have to be, and that there's no chance of them meeting. But God, if you get Arizona State and BSU to play each other, that would be something.
Oh yeah,
Notre Dame.
that guy for Arizona State though. He said I'm the best. I mean, he no bones about it. He actually said I'm the best running back in the country, and people didn't believe me. He said that.
He's nasty.
He said that at the table. I was like, all right," and then back it
He's
up, bro.
nasty.
And he did.
He's nasty. I give it to him. You know what? I'm gonna come with the shocker here. I think Indiana beats Notre Dame.
Think so.
They could break the curse. Well, it's not really a curse. It's just they are a victim of their own doing.
Okay.
They got the TV deal, so they got the money, and that's why most teams want. That's why most teams want a TV deal That's why most teams want to be in a conference that's making money. That's why Oklahoma and Texas joined the SEC
Oh, no doubt.
because the SEC is rolling in the money. They're
No
bringing
doubt.
in the money, so they've got the money. So what do they need to join a conference for? So that
Mhm.
allows them all the leeway to schedule and play whoever the heck they want to. They don't have to be in an SEC and potentially play Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee 1 year, and then next year play um, Texas and Texas, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. This year's Vanderbilt and South Carolina, you know what I mean, and potentially
Yeah.
notch some losses. So they're a victim of their own doing. And when you okay, if you are uh if you're a middle school football squad and you're playing sixth graders all year, and then
Mhm.
you get to the championship, and then
Mhm.
you play your eighth graders playing sixth graders, and then you play against other eighth graders. You've been playing against sixth graders all season. Now you
Mhm.
got to play the eighth graders.
Yeah.
They're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger.
Mhm.
And I think they're going to be a victim of their own. That they're going to be the cause of their own undoing this season. I sincerely think that Indiana gets by them. I think we get Indiana in the Sugar Bowl.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, like, but I mean, what you said there about the analogy with the sixth graders, eighth graders. I mean, like that was in my mind was why we went from a 4 to a 12. You know, we got it. They didn't want with TCUs and all, you know, that stuff that happened to them and that kind of stuff. I mean, they wanted them, I guess, to give them a chance to get in. I mean, I mean, I think Notre Dame is not comparable to those types of schools, though, to be honest with you. Do you?
I'm not saying that Notre Dame is a small
No, I ain't
school and they
saying, I
don't
ain't
have
saying
a
you're saying
chance.
them trash. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you're saying them trash. I'm just saying that you know, but yeah, their schedule is. You're right because they're independent, right? So I mean, they have their.
Yeah,
Okay, I understand what you mean.
yeah. And so that's what I'm getting at is that I think that could be their undoing this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
very possible.
this is a big pot. This is a big deal for them being able to get this far because they normally wind up tripping up over a couple of teams and then they're on the outside looking into the 4 team CFP. So they made it to the 12 team and now they got to do what they got to do. Now, I will say this will be great for Indiana, for the state of Indiana, because both
Mm,
schools are in Indiana. So this will be the
yeah,
battle for the Hoosier State. Depending on how big a game this is, this could become a semi-annual thing. But
right.
that's who I've got there. But that's what we got going on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining us. This is This Week in UGA Football. Mr. Fingers over here, Collin P for the DMV over there. We're talking University of Georgia football. The fact that we have a first round bye and we are ranked number 2, waiting on the winner of Indiana Notre Dame. I don't know. I don't know. I just think Indiana's got it. I think Indiana is going to pull it. That's all
Well, I
I got.
mean, after everything that's happened this season, it's been a wild season. You can't, I mean, you can't disagree with that. I mean, it's been a wild season, and you know, it would just be par for the course for that kind of stuff to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, uh, yeah, I mean, there's conversations about an extra week, you know, with the teams that had that, you know, we don't, fortunately, you know, we have that bye week, but I mean, there's been talk about, you know, what's the difference or how is it going to affect the teams that have that extra week, you know, the week before the quarterfinals, you know,
Yeah. I
but
mean, do they
we'll
come
see.
out rest? Do they come out playing well rested, or do they come out playing lackadaisical because they've had that time off? And I mean, we got a
Yeah.
lot of time off. I know one thing Kirby better do. He seriously got to. I know the one thing Kirby better do. He better call himself a tow truck company and have a boot put on every single car in the football team parking lot.
I agree 110%. Take the
I
keys
love
from the
y'all,
Chargers. Take the keys from the Chargers.
dogs. I love y'all. You're my favorite football team. You're my favorite college football team. But y'all have got to stop this foolishness with these cars, okay?
Slow down.
If you didn't learn anything from the first incident, somebody else is going to get hurt or you're going to hurt
Yeah.
somebody else. You got big things on your horizon you could mess up and throw away if you don't stop with the foolishness with the car. Hey, look, And I can't say nothing because if I was 18, 19, 20 something years old with uh, a Mustang 5 tricked out Mustang 5.0 or a Pontiac Firebird or something like that back in the 80s, I'd have cut the fool too. So
Yeah,
ain't no telling,
yeah,
or
but
Ferrari Rosa or something like that.
the funny thing was, is, I mean, yeah, I know you heard Kirby. Is like it went to Sankey. Is like these boys need some rest. And then when he said to Sankey about having us travel, 80% of the time, and which hey, we had a good. We can't deny we had a good past. What at least last year. Last year our schedule was at home, and we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming.
Yeah, but at least the home series, at least we weren't gone for 3-4 weeks at a time. Like we didn't play a home
Right.
game for 5 weeks this
Yep,
season.
exactly right.
That's insane. That means you come home, you practice, get on the bus, get on the plane, fly out, play, get back on the bus, get back on the plane, go home, practice, get on another plane. Like that can wear you down. I mean, I know that's the NFL life, but still.
But still, I mean, like, even when we did that 8 overtime against no, it wasn't that. It was the Friday night. Yeah, no, it was the 8 overtime in Georgia Tech. We had a Friday night game, but I think Kirby did say that him and Sark we had the Friday night game or what have you, and then or they didn't, but had a short week, and they were still trying to recruit and do signing and all that kind of stuff during that week, and get prepared for the football game on Saturday. So I mean that's insane. That is very much insane. So, but hey, I mean it's been a crazy year. Hopefully we can hold it up and get to the dance one more time and bring it home. You're muted, man.
The thing that's getting me is the fact that the season's almost over, and once again, it seemed like it just got started. I mean,
Oh
I know
yeah,
we got a whole nother month of football, but still.
yeah. It does. It always does that, man. It's just like I don't know if it's the thing where the older you get, because I mean, but at the same point, it's like football. You just started in August or end of August or whatever, and we're here talking at December. Like, oh my God, all right, national championship coming.
Yeah.
Luckily we in the conversation with that. Well, hopefully we'll get there, but I mean, we're in the playoffs, so.
Yep. But we are going to move on to our next segment. The closing thoughts. Mine are going to be sweet and brief. Just make sure as we come to the end of the year, just to try and remember those folks that there's some folks that aren't feeling quite so joyous. There's some folks that aren't feeling quite so merry. Just make sure you keep them in their thoughts. Keep them in your thoughts. And I almost said thoughts and prayers, but just take the time to reach out to them and see how they're doing and check in on them, and maybe try and schedule something with them. I had a friend who said on social media earlier today, it's difficult for me to get you all to. It's difficult for me to get people to understand that even though I love you, sometimes I can only be around you for 15 minutes at a time, and there's some folks that go through things like that. Just kind of, that's it. Because I could go on for hours about that. But yeah, just make sure, during the holiday season, when the time when folks like that feel most lonely, most alone, just take a minute. I know a text message can be considered very impersonal, but if you just reach out and say, "Hey, I hope things are going well," and I hope things are going well. I'm thinking about you. If you want to get together sometime and have a cup of coffee, that'd be great. Just let me know, or just reach out and go, "Hey, I was thinking about you. Let's grab coffee. What are you doing tomorrow?" You know what I mean? And I think that would mean the world to them because sometimes just reaching out is a difference maker in people's lives. Sometimes and you go, "Wow, I can't believe you thought about me. You took the time to do that." That's all I've got. What you got, sir?
Yeah, I mean, well, I hate to use the word piggyback, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you 110%. And, me, like, I mean, obviously, I haven't been told this, but I'm sure I'm required to say sometimes I get, I try to make the most of everything, try to be happy and that kind of stuff. I still got like everybody else, I've still got my own own thing I'm going through like everybody else. You got to be just be mindful of what somebody else may be going through. If they give you kind of a look and kind of a maybe a comment or something, be kind of mindful of that. Say, all right, slow your roll a little bit. I'm not really. I know what you're saying about the 15 minutes. Acquired taste, that kind of stuff. People, but it doesn't mean that you don't like them. It don't mean like you don't want to hang out or nothing.
Yeah.
But you know me, dude. I mean, I send you stuff all the time. Like, I mean, if I see something and it makes me think of somebody, I'm notorious for saying, "Hey, I saw this, or I saw this clip, I saw this reel, I saw this quote, whatever." I mean, I'm notorious for just. I haven't maybe talked to this person in months, weeks, whatever, and then I say, "Hey, this thought of me. I thought of you." I mean, I got a friend of mine that lives in in North Carolina, and she's a Green Bay Packer fan. A reel went through, and showed somebody's man cave with like Green Bay stuff all over the place. I said, "I thought of this," and she's a huge fan. I said, "I thought of this right here. You would love this room." She said, "Oh my God, absolutely. Thanks for thinking of me," and just that kind of stuff. But I'll cut it off right there. But the last thing is, go Dogs.
Yes, sir. Go Dogs. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for us this evening. We appreciate you tuning in. We had a goodly amount of comments. We appreciate you. Those of you that are watching the replay, we appreciate you too. Well, it's not going to be a whole lot for us to report about in the way of Georgia football in terms of actual football played for a few weeks, but we will be here. We'll be talking about, we'll be giving updates on other games and things like that during the week, things we hear coming out of training camp, things we hear coming out of Indiana and Notre Dame. We'll be paying a lot more attention to them since we'll have time on our hands.
Yep.
Other SEC teams playing in bowl games and the SEC happening. So hang with us. We ain't done yet. The season is not over yet. So we do appreciate you. We will see you again soon. Thank you. Have a good Monday evening. It's my understanding that when I came in to start the show, that Dallas was winning 7-0. Just a quick score. Just as quick score update for those of you who might be watching us right now. Dallas is down by the score 17-10 to Cincinnati Bengals. They are playing at Jerry World. So
Wow.
Jerry World not very kind to the Cowboys this year. So maybe they might pull one out. They might be able to pull to 6-7. But right now, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, funny that we mentioned them in the show earlier, are
Right.
winning over the Dallas Cowboys. So you all have a great evening. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We got to go. We'll see you next week. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.